Hi, we're Jaime and Christina Farias, authors of The Money Funnel System, the common sense guide to financial organization. Welcome to episode 3 of Money Matters. If you've been following us for the past few weeks, then you've already learned about what the Money Funnel System is, what poor financial habits it can correct, and how it can catapult you to more financial clarity and control, which means financial peace of mind.
You've also learned about the payments account and what it takes to fully implement it. In today's episode, we'll be jumping into what has to be everyone's favorite account, the spending account. This is where the opportunities lie.
Now don't let the name fool you. There is so much more to the spending account than simply spending. This is basically what you have left over after the allotted amount has been sent to your payments account. We highly encourage our readers and our listeners is to make a plan for this money. Don't just spend it, but designate it.
The first and most important thing to do, if you don't have this already, is start putting a portion from your spending money into an emergency account. We will dive into the details of that account next week. Now, here's the thing. Your monthly payments are set. There's no having a way to get around them. You have to pay your electricity, you have to pay your water, your phone, your car payment, etc. The purpose of this account is to run your everyday transactions that are going to take place. Some examples would be lunch with coworkers, date night, me time at the nail salon, a weekend at the beach, kids' haircuts, home decor, hunting with friends, or dinner with the family, just to name a few.
You can pick and choose how much you are planning to spend on these. These expenses can really fluctuate and sometimes be hard to plan for, especially when you have 4 kids. So how do we suggest portioning it out? Because I get paid once a week, our spending portions are already set. Each week, money is funneled into our payments account and into our spending account. But what if you get paid bi-weekly or monthly? If you consider that hypothetical $2,000 left for spending, then you may need to mentally or by actually taking out cash, portion out each week so you don't have to overspend before the month is over or your next paycheck arrives.
So, what if this happens? While you could technically spend every dollar in this account, it's not recommended. You would still have money to cover your bills in your payments account, but it would leave you with zero fund money, maybe even no gas or grocery money if that's what you run out of this account. This is the extra layer of protection you're giving yourself to ensure that your household is running and taken care of before you spend on anything extra. Listen. Any good long-distance runner knows they need to pace themselves each and every mile. If they start off too fast, they may run out of speed towards the end when they need it most. If they start off too slow, it may cause them to fall too far behind to be able to catch up to the time they are wanting to complete their run in. Setting a pace requires patience, consistency, and a goal. This is the same with your money.
This account requires you to pay attention to the activity. It gives you an instant balance and reality check. Every time you open your banking app or go on your website and check your balance, you can see exactly how much money you have left in your spending account. You will know instantly where you are at. Additionally, it gives you a glimpse of your financial reality. You are looking at exactly what you have left to spend, not necessarily what money you have in total. Remember, the rest of your paycheck was sent over to your payments account.
If you are sharing this account with a spouse, then it is even more important to maintain that awareness and communication with the other person dipping into it. Jaime and I both spend from our spending account. We have 2 debit cards linked to this account. So it forces us to communicate. That's good for a couple. Lack of financial communication can cause great conflict and stress within a marriage.
It also allows us to hold one another accountable to the portions or boundaries that we have designated to spend within. Not a day goes by that we don't run the numbers by each other.
Often I will call Jaime just to say, hey, I'm going to run some errands and grab an iced coffee. A $3 charge may seem insignificant, but that's just how we communicate. We aren't asking each other for permission to spend, we are just keeping each other in the loop. If we easily talk about the small expenses, then we will for sure not forget to talk about the larger ones.
The beauty is you can spend out of this account without worrying about having money left over for your bills. Running the money funnel system puts your household expenses first, and the reward is you get to spend on the extra stuff without worry or stress.
Over the years, Jaime and I have really built up a strong level of trust in each other. I mean, we're married, right? So there has to already be a decent level of trust between us. But sadly, even in marriages, when it comes to money, there can still be a huge gap in the trust. We have known couples where one person keeps a secret bank account, not for their own use, but simply to save money because they are so worried that their spouse will overspend on luxury items and not leave enough money to pay the bills. Dave Ramsey calls this financial infidelity, and we want to avoid this at all costs.
If we're being honest with you though, when it came to our money, we did lack trust. But it wasn't in each other, it was in God. Every Sunday, we would happily place a portion of our income in the collection basket if we had anything left over. Key word being leftover. We know what Malachi 3:10 says. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse so that there may be food in my house. Test me in this way, says the Lord of armies. See if I will not open the floodgates of heaven and pour out a blessing for you without measure. Putting it into action faithfully was difficult. We weren't courageous and disciplined enough to step out in faith. We never remained committed to giving the 10% that we knew we needed to give. Even when we wanted to, we'd get to the end of the pay cycle and realize we didn't even have 10% of my check left over to give, much less even $20.
This is another example of the impact the money funnel system has made in our life. We realized that we needed to stop treating the tithe as an extra expense. We needed to make this a financial commitment and not just a financial consideration. We help ourselves be consistent with this calling by placing the tithe as a line item in our planning spreadsheet. It automatically gets budgeted for in our payments account. The reason why giving out of this account is better than paying out of your spending account is the same as with all your other important payments. It can be too easily shrugged off. It's easy to look at giving as secondary, but for us, we really believe it's primary.
Another reason we believe giving, whether it is the tithe or just by being generous, is important is because plainly it reminds us that life is not all about us. Being able to let go of money that you no doubt work so hard for to earn helps to sever unhealthy ties to it. While money does help pay the bills, and it does allow us to enjoy aspects of life, God is our ultimate provider and joy. Christina and I never want to forget that.
We also get to teach our kids this as well. There are times where we may decide to not spend money on something so that we have extra to give at church or to another organization we want to support. Saying no to yourself sometimes so you can say yes to something or someone else is not a bad thing. This is a super valuable concept for our kids to understand.
Now, getting back on our focus on the spending account. Let's talk about how you can make your goals count. Remember, there needs to be some purpose for this money. Whether it be to pay off debt, save up for a new car, take a vacation, or increase your generosity. The vision needs to be there. If you are married, this must be done with your spouse. As we have said before, we aren't going to tell you what to do with this money, but we will tell you how to be intentional with it.
Pursue success. Shortly after we got our money funnel system set up and running, we decided to create a lofty goal for ourselves. Starting January 1st, 2016, we would attack the remaining balance of our mortgage. Our goal was to pay off $42,000 in 1 year. This was our vision, this was our goal. There are 3 things that we did to ensure that we succeeded.
First, we learned. Get the information you need to start working towards your goal. Christina and I began gathering up information that we needed to figure out how we would go off paying off our mortgage. We calculated the numbers and contacted our bank to get the payoff amount.
Second, we laid out our plan. Lay out the details, timelines, numbers, and anything else pertaining to what you plan to do. We literally sat down and calculated random numbers and amounts to figure out how much we could squeeze out of our spending account and how much we needed to actually make an impact on driving down the mortgage balance.
Third, we acted. Execute your plan. Make the first step towards pursuing success. Christina and I often think back to that year when we attacked our mortgage. We both agree that the hardest part was the start. Yes, planning and preparation took a great deal of time and effort, but it was actually stepping out and committing to doing something hard, something that we could potentially fail at, that seemed to be the most difficult for us.
You guys, we threw everything we could at our mortgage. Our tax return, Hymas Christmas bonus. I had even gone back to work at that time and was able to throw my paycheck at it. We cut everywhere we possibly could. There were no extracurricular activities for the kids, no big vacations, limited eating out, no extra fun shopping, small birthday parties, and an even smaller Christmas. The one thing we never cut during this whole time, though, was our tithe. Like we said, there is a great deal of practicality to this system, but don't leave God out of your financial visions and plans. He has a great role to play in it all.
Long story short, our planning, temporary sacrifice, and efforts paid off. Just before Christmas of 2016, we walked into Bank of America and handed them the final payoff amount for our mortgage. We paid our house off.
Okay, you may be thinking, this is great, but why? Why go through all that effort to pay off your mortgage?
Your why is what's going to be very important when it comes to casting your vision and plan for your money. It will be what grounds you when things become hard or when you start feeling down about not being able to spend money when you want to. Our why for this particular goal stemmed from having the experience of a job loss. Proverbs 13:16 says, "A wise man thinks ahead, a fool doesn't, and even brags about it." Because I had previously lost my job, which was our sole income, by being laid off, we wanted to be prepared if that ever happened again. Knowing that our mortgage was the biggest and most important payment we were making at the time, we decided to knock it out so we could fully own our home. Regardless of the possibility of ever losing a job again, no one would be able to take our home.
Decide what you are trying to accomplish. Pray about it and start working towards that. Have a goal, limit your spending, and watch as you begin accomplishing some financial goals you have set forth for yourself. We never feel bad about spending out of this account either, and neither should you. We want to also enjoy our money. Again, by running the money funnel system, you have been responsible to plan for and take care of your household expenses and obligations first. It's all about stewardship.
Remember, your key to financial success is how you manage and control your money, including the kind of spending decisions that you make. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Money Matters. Stay tuned for next week's video in which we'll be diving deeper into the emergency account and living a life of contentment. We can't wait to see you next week. Stay safe, be well, God bless.